Hello, buddy. All right. Welcome to the Mikestand. Today is, of course, Friday, August the 22nd, 2025. Of course, we're going to give people a chance to come in. Um, if you haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. As said, we're going to give people a chance to come in before we get started. Um, thing there. Alrighty then. As I said, we're just going to give it a few minutes before um, see if anybody else shows up. Um, and again, I invite both my Rumble and my YouTube viewers. If you haven't as of yet, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, of course, today I finished the second half of the cartoons that came out in April of 1940. Among those, including a Porky Pig cartoon in which he owned a fish store, and um, let's see, I guess the last cartoon I saw today was the hardship of Miles Standish, which was a Merry Melodies cartoon from April 30th of 1940. So, all right, so now we got some people in here. So I will of course do now, and I will. Um, all right, so I guess we'll go ahead and talk about what's on tap for tonight. As and with that being said, so for tonight, we'll be going over a couple articles from Bleeding Fool, including Valiant reinforces cancel culture with this latest Bloodshot comic controversy, and also there'll be Bleeding Fool will be taking a look at at Earth's biggest comic collection. Aside from that, of course, we'll also get all caught up on the latest in wrestling. Look back to last night's Impact and Ring of Honor Club shows, as well as look ahead to. Well, technically, SmackDown has already happened because, of course, they were over in Scotland tonight, or in England tonight. Kind of currently on their tour. Their tour leading into Clash in Paris next Saturday. So we'll of course be looking. I won't give the results, but I'll at least tell you because I think the show will still be shown on tape delay here in the states later on tonight. So um, we'll look ahead to tomorrow night's AEW Collision, as well as look ahead to the big shows, two big shows coming up on Sunday, WWE's Heat Wave, and of course Forbidden Door from AEW, which is also coming over from England. So, and then we'll wrap things up with this day in each history. So, with all that being said, of course, why don't we get right into the articles tonight? Alrighty then. All right, so let's see now. All right, so here we go. So Valiant reinforces cancel culture with this latest Bloodshot comic controversy article published by Avi Green. Article by Avi Green, published August 21st, 2025, which of course was yesterday. So let's see what Avi's got to say here. Let's see what's going on here. So this is Avi speaking here. Did Mark Miller once say cancel culture is ended? Well, as the following from Comic Book Club Live makes clear, along with Valiant themselves, it's not over by a long shot. So I guess this is from the Comic Book Live article. So yesterday, in parentheses, August 15th, so I guess this particular article came out on August 16th, the last Thursday. Oh, wait, no. August 16th. Should have been what? So, last Saturday, actually. News about a seemingly transphobic bit of narration in Alien Books Valiant's Bloodshot #1, the official kickoff to the new reader-friendly Valiant Beyond initiative, spread across every bit of social media from Reddit to Blue Sky. While Alien Books, publisher of Valiant, was quick to issue an official statement apologizing on behalf of themselves and writer Mauro Mantella per unearthed tweets. It seems Mantella has been reposting anti-trans and other dicey posts on X, formerly known as Twitter, for a few years now. In the comic book, which hit stores on Wednesday, August 13th, parentheses there, the character of Bloodshot, cunning vampires, who have been hyper-changed thanks to a version of his own nanite-infused blood, while killing a vampire. Bloodshot's narration reads, quote, there are kids who want to be bitten to become vampires because their favorite influencer says they are. And parents who force their children into that irreversible change just to feel modern and believing that they'll be thankful for it when they grow up. No, this sounds more like somebody who's basically more in line with more, who's more in, for parents' rights, and parents having a say in what their kids, are exposed to. These lines in particular stood out as a thinly veiled allegory for anti-trans talking points. In the release statement, Alien said, quote, that was never the intention. The original line was written by an Argentinian creator and was unfortunately a case of nuance being lost in translation. Unquote. So I guess now we're going to get Avi's response to what we just read here. Let's see what's going on. All right. So let's see. So according to Avi here, in response to what we just read, the Argentinian contributor is reportedly disowning his own scripting, as is Alien Books themselves, as the following pathetic press announcement they gave to Comic Book Club makes clear. And this is from Comic Book Club, the article that Avi's referencing here. Alien Books and writer Mauro Mantella sincerely apologized for the harm caused by the phrasing in Bloodshot #1. While the story takes place in a fictional world of vampires and cults, we understand that a specific line of dialogue has been read as alluding to real-world issues, specifically the discrimination faced by trans people. That was never the intention. The original line was written by an Argentinian creator and was unfortunately a case of nuance being lost in translation. We fully recognize that intent does not erase impact. It should. It kind of should. I mean, if he wrote it in such a way it was not meant to allude to trans people at all, that's not on him. That's not on him as a writer. That's on people who are reading the comic. That's their issue, not his. Especially when dealing with subject matter that affect real lives and communities. We are taking the following steps immediately. The dialogue in question will be updated for all digital and collected editions to better reflect the intended fictional context. Going forward, all scripts will undergo a more intense review by our proofreaders as part of our editorial process to ensure cleaner, more responsible storytelling. And Avi's response to this is, I'm afraid this is yet more classic neo-censorship in motion and reminds me of a time when Brian Bendis groveled over a line applied to a villain and indicated he was willing to have it altered in upcoming reprint and or digital formats. Let's see. Some of the people cited who complained about the Bloodshot script were pretty nasty and crude, and those are the kind of people they see as worth kowtowing to. Sorry. And those are the people they are. In other words, you really want to kowtow to people who are going to like just try to cancel you and try to like just berate you and downgrade you like that. It's been a while since I'd heard of the revived Valiant, which at this point nobody seems to particularly care about. This is Avi continuing his point. And what they're doing, groveling to people upholding damaging medical surgeries, is not going to encourage anyone who's a realist to try out their comics. To think that the late Jim Shooter and the company would sell company would sell off the properties all for this. Okay, I realize the Valiant creations were bought by the current sources years after Acclaim closed it down. But even so, it's apparent at this point what Shooter developed 35 years ago has not amounted to much decades later. Maybe because he wouldn't deviate from the cliched pamphlet format, and only years later was the original Valiant reprinted in paperback hardcover archives, with the current leftist in charge of Valiant, and chances are they long had staff like this minding the store. That's exactly why it's not worth buying their new takes on what Shooter originally developed with artists like Bob Layton and Barry Windsor Smith back in the day. Above all, this proves cancel culture is still far from over. So yeah, I see Avi's point here. Basically, people started ranting and raving, and of course, Alien Books there got scared and decided to like bend the knee, as it were. And again, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Of course, to my viewers both on YouTube and Rumble, feel free to comment and or ask questions in the chat. And as I said, I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So, as we get ready to move on to... Oh, and I did kind of forget to do this earlier. I should have did this at the beginning when I saw this. So, I know Rex actually put this up this morning, according to the timestamp here on StreamYard, about 7:24 this morning. So, Rex, I know, if you do happen to be in the chat right now, thank you for that. If not, hope you're having a good day out there somewhere. So, and see, based on the time right now, I think he's probably out working. So, anyways, let's get ready to move on to the next article here. And then definitely the last article we were due for tonight, as it were. So now we're going to take a look at the second and final article of the evening here. All right. Taking a look at Earth's biggest comic collection, article by Avi Green, published today. That looks like quite a warehouse right there. That's all comic books right there. That's quite a collection. All right, so Saginaw and Bay City News talks about Michigan State University's massive collection of comics at one of their archives with material dating back as far as the mid-1930s. Wow, they have stuff all the way back to back in the very beginning of comic books. And even some 19th century prototype samples, along with plenty of foreign products. So it's from Saginaw and Bay City News here. So now referencing the article here. Did you know the world's largest publicly accessible comic book collection is in Michigan? I didn't until my editor pitched me the idea of visiting Michigan State University to peruse the approximately 350,000 strong cache. The treasure trove grew from a few thousand issues at its inception in 1970. Somebody at Michigan, there's a Spartan out there who likes collecting comics, apparently. The collection, housed within the Stephen O. Murray and Ki Lung Hong Special Collections, offers something rare in the world of comic preservation: the opportunity to actually handle the materials. Visitors can access this taxpayer-funded resource by registering online and requesting specific comics at least 3 days before their planned visit. Upon arrival at the library, located at 366 West Circle Drive, staff provide proper handling instructions and equip visitors with a page-turning spatula to carefully examine these historic documents. The collection originated in 1970 through the vision of Michigan State University professor Russell B. Nye, a pioneer of pop culture studies who recognized comics' cultural significance when many dismissed them as low art. Nye began with approximately 6,000 issues donated by graduating seniors, establishing what would become an internationally significant archive. Today, the collection spans every continent except Antarctica, featuring propaganda comics from North Korea, the largest collection of Israeli comics outside Israel, and proto-comics dating to the 1860s. Current collection efforts focus on the comics from throughout North and South America. Beyond their entertainment value, comics serve as cultural artifacts that reflect their times. Which is true because, as many of you know, when we go back and read, when we on Sundays of late, when we've been going back and reading, some of the Golden Age comics, right? This Sunday, of course, we'll be focusing in on Fawcett comics that went on sale in June of 1940 with, we'll be reading, of course, some Captain Marvel, Bullet Man, Spy Smasher, Diamond Jack. So, but, you do have, you do have that chance to look back and just see, many, many things, including what people thought of their world back then, what people thought the future might be like, how people would relate to each other, through the stories and all that. So yeah. So as we, all right. All right, so getting back to the article, of course. Okay, so there's Avi's response to what we just read. I'm impressed they've shown the courage to archive Israeli comics as well in this day and age. I wonder if it includes the cartoonist Yuri Fink's late 70s creation, Sabraman, quote unquote. And lest we forget, many of the early creators since the 1930s were of Israeli descent, like Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, of course. They're, of course, talking about Jewish creators. Yeah, there were many Jewish creators. Siegel and Shuster were probably the two most well known for giving us, of course, Superman. Aside from Superman, they also gave us, of course, let's see, Slam Bradley, Bart Regan. Let's see. I know the Federal Men feature. So, no doubt it's an archive I'll one day want to see if I can visit too. Though, if modern comics from the big two are in this collection, they'd only be good for studying what modern PC propagandists turn out, and not good for entertainment and artistic value. For now, it's great that Michigan State University is gathering only so many comics from around the world to comprise this collection for 55 years already. And it'll be interesting to see if it can continue for a few more decades and see what can be archived within the span of a century. Alrighty then, so there we go with that. I said I was definitely going to stop with that because I am trying to get to a certain time tonight, 45 minutes. So I'm going to gamble here and not add another story for time's sake here. So now what we're going to do, of course, we're going to move on to the wrestling wrap-up. I'm going to, of course, take a look back at last night's Impact and Ring of Honor tapings. We're going to take a look ahead to, of course, today's SmackDown as well as tomorrow's Collision, and of course the two big events on Sunday, Heat Wave and Forbidden Door. Of course, again, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let me go and get started on the wrestling wrap up here. Right, so first off, we're going to look back to last night's, of course, TNA Impact. The Impact coming off of the Emergence pay-per-view. Seeing what's coming up here. Last night's Impact came from the Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, on Access TV, with Tom Hannafan and Matthew Rainwalt on commentary. The opening match of the night saw a number one contendership gauntlet match for the TNA Knockouts World Title, as over a span of 32 minutes. Jody Threat defeated Danny Luna, Indy Hartwell, Killer Kelly, Rosemary, and Zaya Brookside via DQ. So I don't know what that means because I didn't have a chance to watch it yet, but I'll see what happens when I do. So Jody Threat is now the number one contender to the TNA Knockouts World Title. She's basically the next challenger to JC Jane. Then in a singles match, Frankie Kazarian defeated Jake something in 6 minutes. And then the main event saw, in a 6-man tag match, Order 4's Mustafa Ali in the great hands of Jason Hotch and John Schuyler, with Tasha Steelz in the corner, defeating Matt Cardona and the System's Moose and Brian Myers, with Alicia Edwards in their corner. And it's kind of funny how Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steelz are on opposite sides of this in this particular case. These two at one point were actually tag partners a while back. So they only had 3 matches on. I guess they had probably more promos going on because, again, coming off of the the gauntlet match took 32 minutes, so that took up like about half the show right there. But anyways, now getting ready to move on to what went down on Ring of Honor Club last night. On Ring of Honor Club, coming from the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia, with Caprice Coleman and Ian Riccaboni on commentary on ringofhonorwrestling.com. Opening match saw the CMLL World Trios title match. As of course CMLL Consuelo Mundo de Lucha Libre is in a working agreement with AEW. So the World Trios champions of El Sky team of Máscara Dorada, Mystico, and Neon defeated Los Desperados of Magnus, Rubido, and Volador Jr. Blake Christian, with Lee Johnson in his corner, defeated Beef in a one-on-one match. La Facción Ingobernables members member Beast Mortos with Dralistico and Roosh in his corner defeated AR Fox. In a six-man tag match, the Sons of Texas of Sammy Guevara and the Von Erich brothers, Marshall and Ross Von Erich. Of course, Marshall and Ross are Ring of Honor World 6-man tag champions with Dustin Rhodes. Sammy Guevara is the World Tag Team Champion with Dustin Rhodes. Defeated Adam Priest and the Workhorsemen of J.D. Drake and Anthony Henry. Trisha Dora of Shane Taylor Promotions defeated Janai Kai. And the main event saw CML and Don Callis family member Hechicero defeat Jay Lethal. So with that being said, so now that we got caught up on what happened on, of course, last night's shows, now let's look ahead to what's going down to over the weekend here. So first off, looking ahead to for those who have yet to see it, some of you probably over in Europe have already seen the show as it was on earlier today, but it will still air on the USA Network on tape delay here, coming from the 3 Arena in Dublin, Ireland, with Wade Barrett and Joe Testatora on commentary. The opening match will see in tag team action former WWE Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns of Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, will take on the team of Mello Don't Miz, with Carmelo Hayes and The Miz in action. Charlotte Flair, half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, will be taking on Piper Niven of the Secret Hervis with Alba Fire and Chelsea Green in her corner. The Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford with B-Fab in their corner, take on the MFT duo of JC Mateo and Tonga Loa with Solo Sikoa and Talatanga in their corner. The main event we'll see in a match set up earlier in the evening. WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch teams with Nia Jax to take on Jade Cargill and WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. So that's all going down on tonight's SmackDown. Now getting ready to look ahead to tomorrow night's Collision. Looking ahead to tomorrow night's Collision, which will taking place from the OVO Hydro in Glasgow, Scotland. Oh, by the way, I should have mentioned this too. Where was SmackDown coming from last night? Should have looked that up real quick. So tonight's SmackDown is... Oh, yeah, we did 3 Arena in Dublin, Ireland. Okay, that's right. We did say that. Okay. So WWE was in Ireland this weekend while leading up into this weekend's pay-per-view. AEW is in Scotland, which will be on TNT tonight. Opening match, we'll see an 8-man tag match in which New Japan's Hiromu Takahashi will team with Skyflight of the Martin brothers, Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin, and Scorpio Sky, with Christopher Daniels in the corner, take on the Don Callis family members of Josh Alexander, Lance Archer, Hechicero, and Rocky Romero. Megan Bain will be taking on the recently debuted Isla Dawn, as Isla Dawn made her AEW debut on Dynamite this past Wednesday. Queen Aminata and Willow Nightingale team up to take on the Triangle of Madness duo of Sky Blue and Julia Hart. In, I guess, preparation for his upcoming IWGP World Title defense, Zack Sabre Jr. will be taking on Max Caster and what will probably be another one of Max's open challenges. In a match between in a rematch from earlier this year, New Japan Strong Openweight Champion Tomohiro Ishii will be taking on Konosuke Takeshita. I believe Ishii was the one who took the New Japan Strong Openweight title off of Takeshita, if I understand. Well, actually, no. Actually, Takeshita was the never Openweight champion, not the Strong. So my mistake there. Yeah. So. Oh yeah, Ishii right now is a Strong Openweight, and actually though, Ishii did earlier in the year go after the never openweight title held by Konosuke Takeshita. So Big Bill will be taking on Mandrews, Mark Andrews of Subculture fame. The Grizzled Young Veterans of James Drake and Zach Gibson will be taking on the Gates of Agony of Bishop Khan and Toa Leona. And the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, will be taking on Paragon of Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. That's all, of course, leading into this Sunday's Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which will be a co-production of All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'll get right into that here in a moment. So let me just see first. Now, of course, before the main card itself, All Elite and New Japan Pro Wrestling will be presenting their countdown show 0 Hour. Prior to that, the Forbidden Door will be coming from the O2 in London, England. The 0 Hour pre-show will be on YouTube. And then for the main show itself, here's what's on tap for the main show in London, England. The opening match set for the night will see reunion of Adam Copeland and Christian Cage and Cope will be taking on the matriarchy duty of the recently returned Killswitch and Kip Sabian, with Mother Wayne in their corners. Killswitch takes a spot that originally was going to Ring of Honor World Television Champion Nick Wayne. Kyle Fletcher is set to defend the TNT title against New Japan's Hiromu Takahashi in a four-way match for the AEW TBS title, and what promises to be a true international spectacle. Champion Mercedes Moné, representing America as well as AEW, will be taking on Alex Windsor, representing AEW and, of course, England. Persephone, representing CMLL, and Bozilla. Okay, so Persephone representing Mexico, CMLL. Bozilla representing Japan, and representing Stardom from Japan, coming from Germany, I believe. In a three-way elimination match for the AEW World Tag Team titles, the Hurt Syndicate of Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley will be defending the titles against three-time champs FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler, who will have Stokely in their corner, and Brodito of Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito and Brody King. In a match for the AEW Unified title, Kazuchika Okada will be defending against Swerve Strickland, as this match came about because Okada was mad that Strickland had a hand in basically getting the Young Bucks stripped of their executive vice president positions. Let's see. In a match for the AEW Women's World title, Toni Storm will be defending against Ring of Honor World Champion and self-proclaimed Forever Champion Athena, due to her long reign as Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. And As previously mentioned, for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. defends against fellow countryman Nigel McGuinness, who, of course, will have Daniel Garcia in his corner. Adam Page will be defending the AEW World title against MJF, as I mentioned last night. It per some chicanery from MJF, not only did MJF get his gauntlet or his guaranteed contract back for a title shot, if he should not win, but he also made sure that it's possible for the title to change hands on a DQ or count out, which normally that is not the case. Normally the normal rules are. And in the main event, as it were, in a lights out steel cage match, for those of you who don't know what lights out means, generally means that the match is unsanctioned, due in part to Will Ospreay not medically being cleared. Darby Allin teams with the Golden Lovers of Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay and New Japan's Hiroshi Tanahashi to take on the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley, New Japan's Gabe Kidd, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. So also happening on Sunday will be already set for Sunday as well. Will be Heat Wave coming from Lowell, Massachusetts. WWE Heat Wave, as WWE has been basically trying, counter programming AEW. Has been counter programming AEW. To try and try to spoil them, basically try to hurt them in a way by having competing events against, on what some people would say is more accessible, site. So coming from Lowell, Massachusetts on Sunday, from the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, WE Heatwave 2025 will be taking place on Netflix. The opening match will see a mixed tag match as representing Canada, NXT North American champion Ethan Page and Chelsea Green, with the Secret Hervis in their corner of Alba Fire and Piper Niven, taking on Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele. In a triple threat match of the TNA Knockouts World title, JC Jane will be defending against Ash by Elegance and Masha Slamovich. Of course, Ash, the currently one half of the, or 1/3, I guess in this case, of the TNA World Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Masha Slamovich being a two-time former, actually not two-time, but a former TNA World Knockouts Championship, looking to regain that title from JC Jane. In a number one contenders triple threat match for the NXT women, for a triple threat match to determine the number one contender, the NXT women's title, and basically determine JC Jane's next NXT women's challenger. Lola Vice will be taking on Jada Parker, and they will also be taking on Kalani Jordan. In a match for the WWE NXT tag team titles, champions Tank Ledger and Hank Walker, Hank and Tank, will be taking on two members of Dark State, yet to be determined which two members. Jordan Grace looks to take some revenge on Blake Monroe in their singles matchup. In the main event, we'll see for the NXT title, Obafemi will be taking on Javon Evans, who recently defeated TNA World Champion Trick Williams to earn this shot. So that's all we got for the wrestling wrap-up. So now we're going to get right into the we're going to, of course, get right into the all right. we'll get right into the this day in each history segment now. All right, so there we go with that. Let's see. Okay, so there we go with that. All right, so now with today being Friday, August the 22nd, 2025, let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in each history. History! So, first off, I'd actually like to wish a happy 40th birthday to WWE stars Jay and Jimmy Uso. So, of course, just a few days after, announcing that he and his wife Naomi are having a baby, of course, Jimmy, along with his brother Jay, get to celebrate their coming into this world 40 years ago. So, happy 40th birthday to Jay and Jimmy Uso. So, congratulations, gentlemen. All right. So, anyways, getting ready to move on to the next piece in each history, as it were. Ready to move on to the next piece in each history as we move ahead to the year 2000. Coming to the year 2000. On this day in the year 2000, Rich Animation Studios' The Scarecrow was basically a direct-to-VHS, direct-to-video, was released on this date back in 2000. So 25 years ago today, The Scarecrow, which is a 2000 American animated musical fantasy film written and directed by Brian Nisson and Richard Rich, and based on the Nathaniel Hawthorne short story Feathertop and the Peter MacKay play The Scarecrow. The film was released straight to VHS by Warner Brothers under their Family Entertainment label. It is also available for digital download, although it has not been released on DVD or Blu-ray as of 2024. So 25 years ago today, The Scarecrow from Rich Animation Studios was released direct to VHS, direct to video as it were, on this date 25 years ago. So now, as we will move ahead to the year 2001 here. In the year 2001, "24 years ago today," on this date 24 years ago today, the 100th issue of Betty and Veronica Double Digest magazine from Archie Comics went on sale on this date back in the year 2001. So back in the year 2001, 100th issue of Betty and Veronica Double Digit magazine from Archie Comics went on sale on this date back in the year 2001. Sold for $329, was 192 pages. So there we go with that. And finally, we move ahead to the year 2015. We move ahead to the year 2015. As on this date in the year 2015, 3 anime movies premiered in Japan on this date in the year 2015. So 10 years ago today. All right, 10 years ago today, 3 anime movies. Let me see. All right. BN Pictures, Aikatsu Music Award, Mina de Show O Moraima Show, Production IMS's Data Live Mayuri Judgment, and Mushi Productions Hikawa Maru Monogatari. Premiered on this date back in the year 2015, 10 years ago. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back here on Sunday with we'll be back here next week with more niche news, of course. Also on Sunday, I'll be joined by Rick Piper as we take another trip down Comics History Lane. We look at books that went on sale in June of 1940. This week we'll be focusing in on Fawcett Comics, as I said earlier. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. I'm sorry, on Sunday.